Captain's Log, Episode 12, Motherpucker, Please. This week's episode of the Beer Vengers podcast is sponsored by Astoria Beer and Cheese Ditmars, located at 3511 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Now featuring, for a limited time, the full range of the 2020 Goose Island Bourbon County brand stouts. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items. Still haven't found the right holiday gift for that special someone? Ask any member of their talented staff to help you assemble the perfect gift basket. Astoria Beer and Cheese Ditmars, home bar to yours truly, Captain Porter Brown Stout. Coming up on today's show, meet another guest beer venger, the one and only Motherpucker, as we take a deep dive into the sour end of the beer reservoir. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 12, Motherpucker, Please.
Well, we're the beer vengers, beer vengers, beer vengers.
We're the beer vengers.
Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens, I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
And I am coming to you from an undisclosed location in Manhattan Town, New York City. I am Hophead Huck, a.k.a. Pale Male, a.k.a. Sourpuss.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the borough of Kings, known as Brooklyn, it is I, the Beer Wonder.
And I am here from an undisclosed location in upstate Manhattan, and I'm Motherpucker.
Motherpucker in the house.
Woo!
And we are
the Beer
Vengers.
That's right. We're the Beer Vengers, everyone. Thanks for coming up again to our wonderful Beercast. I'm sure you noticed that we have a wonderful new guest Beer Venger with us today. Welcome to the Beercast, Motherpucker.
Thank you. I'm stoked to be here.
We're stoked to have you here, and we're going to hear a lot about her experience.
Hey,
nice one.
And our various weeks in beer, and we have a wonderful bunch of pours for you. And I know it's usually, from this point, we try and get to the pours as quickly as possible, but I've had something that's been on my mind a couple of days, so if you guys would indulge me, you give me a couple of minutes here, I promise I won't let your beers get warm.
Okay, I was saying, you're going to put it back in the fridge? No, okay. You're all right.
No, I'll
Go
try
for
not
it,
to be
Captain.
that long-winded. No, it's as we're recording this, it is December 15th, 2020. You'll be hearing it by December 21st at the first. So post-Hanukkah, a few days before Christmas, 9 months into this thing we've been going through. And on our show, we talk a lot about our small businesses. And
I was doing
Is that-
Christmas music. No, go ahead.
Oh, no, please. No, that was very moving. No, we talk a lot about our small businesses, especially our sponsor, Astoria Beer and Cheese Ditmars at 3511 Ditmars Boulevard. And I've been thinking a lot about them and a lot about the other small businesses and what they've been going through. And I'm not going to talk just about them, but when I feel like if I talk about them, there are a lot of things that small businesses have been dealing with throughout all of this. When this all started, Astoria Beer and Cheese pretty early on shut down completely for a couple of months while they regrouped and figured out how they could actually be open in this whole thing. And then they reopened slowly. And now at that point, a lot of us who, myself included, were on unemployment, were getting a little extra money from the government, from the federal government when that was happening. And a lot of the small businesses were able to reopen due to part of the similar aid package that was there. In fact, when I talked to Rick White at Astoria Beer and Cheese, he said at one point he wasn't sure if he was going to reopen or if he was going to be able to reopen at all. And the fact that he had that, and I'm sure that between that and the fact that a lot of us had a little extra money to give to our small businesses really helped and made through that whole thing that was going on then. Well, now a lot of that expired for those of us on unemployment. That expired at the end of July. It didn't last too much longer for the small businesses, and things are getting really rough for them right now. As of yesterday, or is it today? Anyway, the indoor dining is over in New York City for a little while again, which I never really did much. Actually, Story Beer and Cheese didn't really do that either. But it's part of a larger thing, and I'm looking at things as people are having a little less money, and as Congress has not passed any new package, that our small businesses are really struggling right now. I saw yesterday that Mission Dolores, for one, is shutting down.
Ooh.
Not for good. They're not shutting down for good.
Right.
At least they say they're not. But there's not enough for them to really. It's not worth it for them to be open right now. And they're regrouping. The Pony Bar, the one we talk about more than anyone else, they did the same thing. I was in a Story of Beer and Cheese last night, a couple nights ago, and they're giving us their latest wonderful sponsorship package. And they were saying, and I was asking about some beers that were coming in, and they said, "Yeah, it's been a little slower lately. We haven't been doing as much ordering." And then I went home, and the next day I saw they were cutting back to 5 days a week from 7. And I looked at all of these things that are going on, and it occurred to me I had seen a pretty inspiring story. I think the Happy Hour guys posted it on their Instagram thing, where when a lot of this was first starting up, there was a place in, I think, somewhere in Ontario, in Canada, and there was a business that was going through some similar things. And what had happened to them was they pretty much put something on Facebook about this, saying, "Hey, if you think you might be able to help us out a little bit here." Well, the next thing you knew, it went viral, and all their customers, some they hadn't seen in years, came out and pretty much just cleaned the store out. People they hadn't seen in a while, people were getting cases of beer, and just that effort made the difference to them with the cash flow that they were able to stay open. Now, I mention all this because I know we can't all do that. We can't all go out and buy cases and cases of beer, but this is my sort of suggestion. That place in your neighborhood that you really love that is there, that you've been meaning to go now. I mean, you can listen to the rest of the podcast, or you can listen on your way. Anyway, but go now and get something, and maybe get a little more than you were planning on. Maybe, double up. And it's really going to help you when the snow comes down and you start to run out of beer, and you have some, and it'll probably really help a lot with their cash flow. So, and we'll all mention our favorite places we want to. Basically, doing all this might be more likely that these places that we love will still be here when all of this is over.
Very good.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Indulging. I was on my mind, and I didn't want to have to wait till the end to talk about it. It's really important, I think.
Excellent.
Anyway. So now I'm going to get off my soapbox, and let's get to the pours, everybody.
Excellent. Well, who should? I mean, you want me to go first, Beer Wonder, or?
Well, here's the thing. I did, because I know our guest is such a badass this week. I thought this would be the week we'd mix it up, but then I would feel bad, and my Midwestern guilt would come out, and we can't have that. So, Motherpucker, will you take us away, please?
I mean, I don't want to throw off anybody's routine here. This is important business.
No, that was the routine. We just did it.
No, just a reminder that her name is Motherpucker, because she favors a specific kind of beer, which you're about to hear right now.
Excellent.
Yes, I am a huge fan of the sours, and I picked one that I'm trying for the first time tonight because it's very rare that I meet a sour that I don't like. So for me tonight, I found one that I had not seen or heard of before from DuClaw Brewing in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
I love DuClaw because they make really fun, kind of different beers. And I've had a lot of their sours. They love to put out sours, and I love them all. And Beer Wonder actually turned me onto this brewery about a year and a half or so ago when they released a beer called Unicorn Farts.
Yes.
I never got to try Unicorn Farts.
You shared that one with all of us.
I remember that.
To a number of stores where he thought it might be still, and I could never find it. So I've still never had it, but I'm a sucker for a catchy name, a fun label, and a fun concept. Who doesn't want glitter in their beer?
True.
Yeah, I know. But sadly, this beer does not. This is Strawberry Letter 23. So this is a strawberry hot sour.
Ooh, fun.
Fun fact, it's named after a great old song from the late 70s by this disco funk band called the Brothers Johnson. You'll know the song. You might not know it right now, but I guarantee you if you go back and find it on YouTube or wherever, you'll recognize the song.
Okay.
Great jam. So I'm just going to open it and pour.
Yeah, let's take a look at
Yeah.
it.
Let us
See that?
see it.
Hold her up.
Right
See
in
what-
front of your screen. Yeah. Oh, very nice.
Aha.
So
That's
I was
gorgeous.
expecting it to be a little more red, honestly.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
expecting a little more strawberry look to it, but
Yep.
It's
It's
got
got
that
a lot of
flavor.
effort. It's got a lot
There
of
it is.
effervescence there happening there. I see a little of that pink, but that head is pretty aggressive. That looks like it's got some nice foam on that. That's going to be kind of creamy alongside with that pucker, I bet.
Yeah, I hope so. And I'm telling you right now, it smells very hoppy. It smells
Great.
more hoppy than I would have expected.
Very good. Who's next?
I knew we were going to have the Motherpucker here, and so I got a very special beer. This is called Ryan's beer from Grimm Brewing. Now, you know about this? This is a guy, Ryan. We can talk about it a bit. He works there, and they asked him, what do we want to have in Ryan's beer? He said, I want to see beets, baby. And so they made a beer with beets and orange peel. It is a sour. And let's you can see it already. It's in a clear bottle.
Yep.
But let me see what this looks like. We pour it in a glass here.
I love the idea of a beet.
Oh,
So it does look kind of like beet juice. It has that really
does,
like almost
yeah.
blood
Really
red
does.
feel to it. Yeah. And just the slightest amount of foam on the top, just the slightest head. It looks like that one looks like it's gonna be delicious. Good.
oh
good
yeah,
mouthfeel
it's got a
on
great look to it for sure.
Mhm.
Very dark, and you can't even see through it. Yeah, that's a nice one.
Well,
I'm not-
since I made everyone
I got aromas of beets here, folks.
Hey, good times.
very good.
Let's go see who else has got something here, and I'll take a little sip. Yeah.
Well, since I made everyone wait so long, I think it's only polite to let the Beer Wonder go next. What do you have there,
Well-
Beer Wonder?
Well, see, here's the thing. We have a continuation of a theme because, as we've discussed, the Beer Wonder has not yet found the perfect sour of his dreams. However, I did want to honor Motherpucker with a delightful local sour. This one from our friends at Collective Arts. Continuing
Oh.
our fruit theme, I have a guava goza today.
There we go.
Which is a more sour style of a wheat beer that I actually do enjoy. It's one of my like trending on the ways of the way that Beer Wonder enjoys his sours, mixed with a little guava. I also wanted to show off the glorious can art that you've got on this one because it's just a beautiful image. We'll make sure we put some pictures up of this one. But Collective Arts always does excellent can art, and so I figured that would be a fun combo as well. So let's pop this open, shall we?
Yeah, and I know they make a point of crediting the artists as well on their
They
can.
do, yep. Edgar Allan Slothman, I believe, is the artist on this one.
There you go.
That's
Which is awesome.
Take a look at this
So,
beauty.
all right.
I'm seeing that guava right away. That's sort of almost like a pink grapefruit kind of vibe to it in the color.
This
Got a
is It is an unfiltered beer, so it definitely has that feel. Also, following can instructions, I did roll it before I poured it.
Aha. And it's
So-
got a nice creamy, very white head on top of that. That's a good looking goza.
Mhm.
sure.
I'm very excited.
All right.
All
What
right.
do you say, Captain?
Captain.
Okay, well, last week when we knew Motherpucker was going to be here with us, now if you listen to last week's show, I made it sound like I don't know anything at all about sours, and that's mostly true. But I have brought something so interesting. You're going to make me think I'm going to make you think that I was just hustling you, but I assure you I wasn't. It just out of lucky coincidence, the day after we recorded last week's episode, I got an email from Singlecut saying they were
Oh.
celebrating their 8th anniversary.
I
Whoa!
know this beer. Yeah.
Special sour beer, and because I'm on their mailing list, if I were to get it as soon as possible, then I could go in. If I bought 2 bottles of this thing for $12 each, they give me a free T-shirt celebrating their 8th anniversary. So
You got the shirt.
you can take a screenshot. Take a screenshot of that one there.
You got it.
And so there's a lot going on with this beer. This beer is known, even though it's on the label, I often have a hard time reading these things in the lights I have here, so I have it written down. This is their 8th anniversary. It's their Imperial Oak Age Sour
Ooh.
with maple and smoke, which is based on a cocktail called the Maple Mezcal Sour. And the name of
Wow.
it is Steel Idle Trees.
Yes.
Ooh.
Here's their lovely
Oh, glorious!
There.
That is. It's got
Wow.
again.
And it's a big bottle. It's a big bottle.
That's a
And this is
750 milliliters. Yeah.
And so
Definite can art for the win on that, or bottle art in this case. I guess it would be.
Yeah, right.
actually, I think when I read that one, I left one. Oh, also yuzu. I didn't mention the yuzu. That's the because I know all sours have the fruit at their base. So yes, this is their oak aged imperial smoked sour ale brewed with yuzu and maple syrup.
Now yuzu is a tough. It's a tough fruit to get right. So I would count on Singlecut to do so.
Oh yeah, they're good for an experimental beer for sure. Oh, here we go.
Look at this beauty.
All right. Oh my goodness, this may be the lightest and clearest beer I have ever seen the Captain pour here.
Well, there was cider week.
Wow,
but yeah.
Hey, cider week, yes, lest we forget. But that one, another creamy head on this one, nice and clear. Looks like it's a big carbonation. I can see those bubbles sticking to the side of the glass.
Yeah.
This one looks like it's going to be a fun one for sure.
I would think so.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a ginger ale in a glass. Well, fantastic. Yeah. Cheers, everybody.
That hoppy smell as well.
Fantastic.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Cheers. Mm.
It's interesting. The beet beer, kind of the head did die off it kind of quickly, but it's still got a lot of carbonation to it, and it's very sour, like super puckery. Like you would love this. I'm sorry we can't share it in real life. Motherpucker, because this is a winner. And the beets are on the nose, but I'm not getting a big like overpowering beet flavor. It's just a nice fruity sour. Yeah, I dig that. How's that DuClaw? Is it DuClaw? Yeah.
Yes, DuClaw. It's much hoppier than I had anticipated. You know, I've had a few hop sours during your beer tastings that
I can dig it. Yeah.
I would have to say this is probably the hoppiest hopped sour I have ever had. It's definitely more hop than sour, but there's enough like sweet and sour balance with the hops so that the bitterness of the hops is not, killing me.
Yeah,
it's very different than what I was expecting, honestly.
I'm curious because the color for me is almost a straw color. How intense is the strawberry in this one? Because that does seem to be sort of what they're pushing.
It's not super intense. It's definitely between the hops and the strawberries, the hops are coming out on top.
Okay.
Sure. Gotcha. That tracks.
The strawberry's just a nice little kind of sweet undertone there.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, again, Gozas are where I like to go when I'm looking for a sour beer. This one is definitely not disappointing. It's got that nice sort of like wheat base that I like out of it. But the other thing that's kind of fun about this one is that Gozas always have a little salt in them and almost like a little coriander flavor. And this one, while the guava is very present, they claim on the can that they're using a Himalayan sea salt, and it almost has that kind of tang and bite to it, which is really kind of fun. It's actually making me thirsty to drink more of it, which of course means that the beer is having a good time with me. But I'm digging it. And the guava is just gentle. It's not like I'm drinking a tropical fruit cocktail. It's like the tropical fruit cocktail smelled the beer once and they, had a little exchange. So it's a good one. And again, the unfiltered quality of it gives it a little bit more richness, and it's got a good carbonation. So it goes down way easier than it probably should for a almost 5% Goza. Yeah,
I think guava is one of those fruits that really works well with beer that I've noticed. I've had some really great guava IPAs from like Burlington Beer Company made a really nice guava IPA a few years ago. And so, guava is a great fruit for beer.
Yep.
And our Singlecut, how's that working out?
Yeah.
This is, the maple is there in a subtle but very present way.
Okay.
So that's there, but it definitely is a sour. The oak aged and the smokiness. I'm still exploring and seeing it's how much that is there. But yeah, it has that. It's very tasty.
How's the yuzu?
I'll have to admit, I can't necessarily identify yuzu because I've never had it on its own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I haven't either.
We've tasted guava juice. We've tasted, if something is a pear or a cherry, we've tasted that on its own. I don't know if I've ever had yuzu anywhere other than a cocktail.
Yeah, it's a rare fruit in
But
the U.S. for sure.
But speaking of that, though, it really does have that little sort of like cocktaily sort of taste to it, that feel to it, that body to it. It's a 9%er, but it's got a nice lightness to it.
9%.
Yeah, which is impressive. I mean, I
Powerful.
think that the aging is part of that.
Now with the does it live up to the
It's got a little of the smokiness there as well.
Oh, good. Does it live up to being the anniversary beer?
Yeah, I think so. It's just like it's you don't see a lot of beers like this.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty unique.
I'm curious because I didn't ask them and I didn't see anything because as a lot of us know, I think everyone here knows, Singlecut has always had musical themed names to their beers.
Right.
Yes.
In fact, when they started, they were very specific that all their beers would be named for people who played single cut guitars. So you had the Eric, you had the Dean, you had the John Michael, and eventually I think they just ran out of people, so they started naming
Right.
after groups, and they started naming after songs.
Yeah.
In that vein, I don't know where Steel Idle Trees comes from.
Yeah, that's a good one. What do you, the Motherpucker?
I don't know how many.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if a tree were steel, it makes sense that it would be idle because it wouldn't be blowing much in the breeze.
That was my question: was what is the spelling on idle? Because it could mean two
IDLE.
totally different things.
Idle as in Eric.
Excellent.
Oh,
guess
there you
that
go.
tracks.
Idle as an Eric. Very nice. Now,
Idle as in
Good luck.
Eric. Idle as in hands. Idle as in something that shows up on a lot of crosswords.
And not idle as in Billy.
No, it is not. It is not.
No.
Yes, as in golden calf.
the traditionally sour beers are generally a little more low alcohol. This
True.
one's 4.8. The wheat beer, and I'm guessing that goes with fairly.
I believe it's a 4.9. Yes, it is. It's just about 5% because I remember looking at that and thinking, okay, that'll go down nice. But it drinks like water. I mean, it really flies back. And Motherpucker, where's your beer at?
7.1.
Woo!
Oh, nice.
All
That's
right.
really nice for a sour. Yeah.
Well, and I was remembering when you were talking about the beer that got away for you, which is from DuClaw, of course, the Sour Me part of their series, the Unicorn Farts, which was known as a glitter sour ale, and it was made with Fruity Pebbles, well, not actual Fruity Pebbles, but Fruity Pebbles cereal and edible glitter, which was sort of that beer that went away. That one I remember distinctly being under 6%, and also flying back pretty easy. I guess it's probably, I mean, do you know, Huck, what the situation is with these low alcohols in our sour beers?
No, I don't really know offhand why they're generally low alcohol. I think it has to do with the bacteria because it's added in the lactobacillus or whichever strain of bacteria you put in. I think maybe it cuts back on the fermentation, but that's my guess. I haven't done that research, but you're like one of my at the job. Now I'm gonna have to write that down and do my research so the next group I talk to will have better information. Thank you for the question.
Yeah. You got look at how he turns that around. A professional,
Like a
for
true
sure.
professional.
I have found the answer to Steel Idle Trees.
Oh, excellent.
It's a song by Boston called "Hitch a Ride." You may know the song, and the line goes: "Day is night in New York City. Smoke like water runs inside. Steel idle trees to pity every living thing that's died."
Cheers to Boston.
Boston.
Beautiful.
I did see them in concert.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did 9 shows at the Centrum back in '86.
Is the Centrum is that
The Worcester Centrum.
Oh, that's in Worcester. Okay.
Worcester.
In Worcester, Mass.
It's in Worcester.
Mass.
Even though the band is Boston, the main place to play was the Centrum. It replaced the Boston Garden as far as places to go in Massachusetts when bands would come around.
And is that still the case? And they still haven't changed their
No, the
sponsorship?
Centrum has gotten old, and the TD, and plus we're not really in the stadium rock age anymore. But Boston played 9 consecutive nights, and it was such a hype because they reunited to do these shows, and they ended up. By the time I saw the concert, I was so sick of these songs. And I didn't even really,
You didn't quite think it through.
I really didn't enjoy the concert that much. I was
Clearly,
like,
if you'd had some Steel Idol Trees, it might have
here's
helped
Hitch
you
a Ride again. But I don't remember that particular lyric. That's interesting.
So it's interesting when I hear it, when I think of Boston, because I've never been to any big concerts in that area. I just always think of the Wang Center.
Okay, sure.
I mean, that's just a name that's stuck because it's a
solid name. Yeah,
it's more of a classical music venue.
Is it? Okay.
But now, when I think of though people, it seems appropriate that we have a musical based beer because Motherpucker is someone who I go to for a deep catalog of excellence in music.
She's a real rocker.
I wouldn't call it excellence, but I do enjoy music, but it doesn't appeal always to everybody. But
you certainly click at least two of my boxes as far as things that I know you're a little fanatical about. But since we're talking about some of those, I think maybe it might be time for yet another. Wait. Did you want to talk more about the Centrum Center?
No.
All right. Okay. I didn't. Maybe you didn't want to reminisce a little more about how much 3 nights of Boston is too much of a good.
Nine nights.
9 nights. Oh, you went every night.
I only went once. I only went to one show. But
all right. So now, I guess, do you think we might be ready to move on to another? Shall we say? What do you call it?
Origin stories.
Yes, that's right. It's time for another origin story. Motherpucker, when did you start your beer journey?
Well, yes.
Yes.
I did not start as a beer drinker. I grew up in a household where the beer that was in the fridge was whatever was on sale at the grocery store. Usually Natty Light, Busch Light. Like, we're talking the real lowbrow stuff here. And I was just like, God, this is gross. But, when you're in high school, you go to a party or whatever, if that's the only thing there to drink, that's what you drink. I didn't like it. I would grab one and then I just nurse it the whole night. And then by the time it gets room temperature, it's even worse. It's like, I can't even waste my space holding this in my hand anymore. So I wasn't a big beer drinker until I moved. I grew up in Western Washington. And when I moved to Seattle to go to college, I got a job and I was working at a lot of rock and roll clubs and I was going to a lot of rock shows. And one of my favorite bands had this song called I Only Drink Bud. So for a long time when I was going to these rock shows, I would only drink Bud. And it was not only for that reason, but also because aside from PBR, it was usually the cheapest thing on the menu. And I was a broke ass college kid. So I just needed to drink something cheap. But I didn't necessarily enjoy it. I just did it because, I'm at this rock show. I don't want to have a fancy drink. I'm just like, I'm here to rock and roll. I'll just have a beer in my hand and most of it's going to end up on my feet anyways.
This is a common theme.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just, it was never a thing for me until when I turned 22, when you go to college and you go back home for the holidays and everyone gets together at the local bar and catches up with people. Potentially meet people from the high school years that you didn't really ever think about or whatever. So my actual foray into beer was a result of a one-night stand that turned into a 4-month relationship. And it was one of those things where I was hammered and I was like, whatever. And he pulled that move where, he left something behind in my car. So we had to get together again. And so I was like, well, whatever. I'm not going to your house. So we met for lunch at this great old dive in Seattle. And I hope to God it's still in business because it's been there for years and years and years. And I would hate to think that it closed. And he ordered a beer. When we ordered lunch, he ordered a beer. And I was like, I'm just going to have an iced tea, whatever. He's like, well, you don't like beer? And I said, actually, no, not really. And his jaw dropped. It was unacceptable information for him. So he's like, well, you're not drinking the right beer then, because he asked me what I was drinking. I was like, well, just the cheap shit, whatever. And so he, on the spot, ordered me a Mac and Jack, which at the time, this was 20 years ago, Mac and Jack was kind of one of those hip craft, I use that term lightly, craft beer.
Yeah, I want to know more about this one. I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of this one. Yeah, tell us about it.
And what era and what state was this in?
This is in Washington State in
Okay.
the late 90s, early aughts.
Got
I
it.
can't
Okay.
remember what year exactly, but yeah, I guess it was probably 2000, probably 99, 2000.
And Mac and Jack is the name of the brewery?
No, I think it was just the name of the beer. It might have
Okay.
been like a Deschutes or like a Oregon or Washington brewery.
Okay.
It was like an amber ale.
They have a lot of great stuff we never get on this coast.
Right. And so he made me drink one of these, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is different from the beer that I have historically known.
Mhm.
And so then it just became, every time we got together, he'd introduce me to a new beer. One of them, and again, I don't know if you ever got this out here, but at the time there was this really popular beer. It was Henry Weinhard's Blueberry or Blackberry Wheat. And so that was another kind of gateway beer. And then I graduated to Fat Tire.
Mhm.
Yes, so New Belgium.
Yes.
They've come up a lot lately.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 or 3 podcasts, New Belgium has come up.
Yeah, and like I started to acquire a taste, and then I had a Blue Moon, and at that point in time, Blue Moon blew my mind. It's like, oh my god, I didn't know beer could taste this good, and they give you the cute little orange slice and blah blah blah.
Right.
And that just kind of led me into the Belgian beers, and I got super duper into the Belgian beers, like Chimay, Delirium, Ommegang had some really great ones. I was really into that for a while, but the thing with those is I couldn't drink more than a couple before I felt super full, and then after a while they all just kind of started to taste the same again. And then like after things fizzled out with that dude, and I just kind of went back into the normal drinks that I liked to drink, and started getting more into wine as I got a little older. And then in 2010, when I moved to Williamsburg, I was living in DC for 4 years. I had moved to New York for 1 year, moved back to DC, and then moved back to New York and ended up in Williamsburg. And I was walking by
Yeah.
a bar.
Yeah.
I just in case anyone out there thinks we're talking about Virginia, it's
No,
yes.
we're talking about Brooklyn.
Not colonial
Slightly
Williamsburg.
different.
We're talking about Brooklyn. I walked past this cute little bar, and they had a little sandwich board out front that said, sour tasting today. And at that point I didn't know what a sour beer was. I really they weren't really a thing yet. It was a very, very niche kind of thing. And so I like anything sour. I was the kind of kid that would eat Sour Patch Kids until the roof of my mouth was raw. Like I love that. I love sour things. And so I went in there, I had a bunch of time to kill, and so I did this flight of sour beers, and it changed my world. It's like, this is the best thing ever. I get beer, but I get that nice like sour flavor. I get that acidity. I get a little fruitiness. I loved it. And then I started trying, Gozas, like Ethan was saying, or Beer Wonder was saying, the saltiness, the coriander, like the nice little subtleties that make it such a really flavorful thing. If you compare that to say, going back to a Busch Light. Like they're so different, and it's just
they don't even seem like it seems strange that they're both considered beers.
Right.
It's
One
like
you pull out of a toilet, the other one you get served in a chalice, right? Like it just amazing. And from that point on, I've always been really obsessed with the more like sour beers. Anything in that line of beer. If I drink beer, that's the kind of beer I want to drink. If I go to a ball game or whatever, I'm going to have a Coors Light or, whatever they're selling.
Right.
But if I'm choosing my beer, it's going to be a sour beer. And my all-time favorite sour beer to this day, and I only got to enjoy it for one summer, was probably, I don't know if it was 16 or 17, 2017 or so, Coney Island Brewery. I love them.
Of course.
And when summer's going on, I love Coney Island. It's one of my favorite places on the planet. And I would always go, especially when they opened up that new little brewery part kind of attached to the baseball park, because I go to ball games all the time. And this one summer, they had this tart cherry sour that knocked my friggin' socks off. Like it was just like a punch you in the face, aggressive sour. and I could drink it for days.
Yeah.
And
That sounds wonderful.
after that season was over, they never had it again. And I was devastated because like it got me through that next winter thinking, oh, I can't wait to get back out to Coney and have this great beer. But it must have just been a special edition thing that they did and this limited run. But it was for me like a very magical beer. It didn't have glitter in it, but it was magical in every other sense of the word. I absolutely loved it. So that's in a nutshell kind of my journey into beerdom. And like if I have to pick a beer, it's always going to be a sour if that's available to me.
Oh,
You know, it can be a little tricky sometimes when your beer of choice is much more dictated by I like this beer and I will have this beer, as opposed to going with the trends.
Yeah.
Because that happens to me all the time, where my favorites are the darker things, and like there will be times when I can't find anything but hazy IPAs and hard seltzer.
Hard seltzer, all the rage.
It's like, yeah, I mean, some of the, oh yeah, I've not had that beer, but you make me want to try it, and I'm sorry that it doesn't exist anymore. Someone else should do that.
We'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah,
we can.
I mean,
we can make room for it.
And speaking of, Coney Island Brewery has expanded their physical space, and they now have some additional indoor space. And so it's, hopefully once we're all back drinking beers in public spaces with each other, we'll be able to visit them, and maybe they'll expand their line while they're expanding their location.
Oh, the idea of being able to drink together in public places. I don't mind park drinking, but I love just being in a bar and being able to sample all the different kinds of things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I miss that so much.
We've had a couple of beer venging meetups over the summer, and we've done okay as far as getting that done. But it has been harder. I looked up Mac and Jack's. It's a one of the older breweries, started in 1993 in Redmond, Washington.
Oh, it is.
So it is the name of the brewery then, Mac and Jack's.
I guess it is. Redmond is the suburb of Seattle. It's where Microsoft headquarters are.
And that's old school to be 1993. That's ahead of the curve.
Yeah, there's a
MACK or MAC?
It's MAC.
All right.
And don't they have like a lion on the logo?
Yeah, they got like an MGM style lion on their.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. Indeed, yeah,
that's
great.
There was actually another beer that was along those lines, Captain, that I know you had mentioned in a previous episode that was another one of my breakthrough beers, like Killian's Irish Red.
Oh, yeah. That was my first favorite beer.
With that beer for a long time when I first started getting into beer. I haven't had one of those in years. I don't even know who carries it anymore. I haven't seen it in forever.
Well, our palates are strange and evolving, especially now. When our palates don't necessarily evolve, but given the climate that we're in with regards to what we can have, it's amazing just how much they change and adapt. I mean, there are times when I go back to favorite beers of mine that I think they've changed, but it's also just as much I've changed, but also they might have changed a little bit as well. Like I remember when I couldn't get enough of Bass Ale. And the last time I had it, I was just like, oh, it's fine.
Yeah, it's you've graduated to another level of beer drinking.
True. It was like strange though. Do you remember the Grassroots Tavern on 8th Street?
Yeah, that reminds me of you having a Bass Ale.
And I remember when I first moved to New York in the late 90s, early aughts, going there, and I think I would have that sometime, but at that time they had Brooklyn there. I think they had Brooklyn Brown, which was always one of my favorites as soon as I discovered it. Yep. And it was always cheaper than Bass Ale and the Guinness and Harp if they had those things. But like in their latter days, I remember going there and seeing that like, oh, now Brooklyn's more expensive than the other ones.
Yes.
Right.
Because the other ones are passé or something now. But
I miss Grassroots. I hadn't thought about that place in a long time. I remember.
I really do too. I miss that whole like. There's like a 2 or 3 block thing in that area that is like was. Well, I miss it so much.
That was
and the old Holiday.
The Holiday Cocktail Lounge.
Mm-hmm. There were so many on that little strip right there.
I want to give a quick shout out on this beer, the Ryan's beer, because it was brewed because Ryan is a guy who works at Grimm. He got a cancer, and It doesn't say what kind of cancer, not that it matters, but he's recovering and he's going through chemotherapy. So this beer was
Oh,
actually
that's
made to have the proceeds go towards paying his medical bills.
Okay.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So and they said, what kind of beer do you want to make? And he said, we want to make a beet beer.
I've got to try
Maybe
that
he was
one.
on some painkillers at the time. Put beets in it.
Well, it seems to have turned out okay. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's actually great, and it's made with beets, orange zest. It's a step mashed sour ale base fermented
Nice.
in oak fodder. Yeah, so it's pretty cool. And Grimm, they do good stuff over there.
Was it unfiltered? It looked like there was some stuff at the bottom of the bottle there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that you're right. There is a bit of a almost like a
Sediment.
wine bottle. Yeah, it's funny, the clear bottle too. That's pretty rare.
I know it's
soda.
can be a little scary when you got that, but I wonder if the beet in some way would counteract the light that could make your beer a little pissed off.
It's a
But-
good theory.
You guys have given me a lot of thoughts about as far as I think it doesn't affect me as much in general, but because so many of the beers that I buy are cellarable, that remembering when I get one that's not to just say I'll get to that eventually.
Right. Your
Yes.
hoppy IPA's got to be they got to be done in a couple months.
Well,
Consume
like
quickly.
I mean, I was not to bring everything around to our sponsor, but one of the ones they gave me last week, I was thinking about doing soon, but I also don't want it to go bad. They gave me this amazing looking triple IPA from Killsborough,
Oh, okay, yeah.
Nice.
but I saw that it has like a born on date of like early November.
Oh, okay.
So I should probably get to that soon and not wait till we have the perfect episode to do it. But and I will get the name of that. Yeah, they gave me. In fact, I should probably take this opportunity to say they've given me stuff from. Well, we had the one from Bell's, Killsborough, Transmitter, Alewife, Wild East, and Crooked Stave, many of which will be going on to the Beer Wonder and Hophead Huck.
Very excited.
You've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I'm excited to grab a second beer. You guys talk.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Talk about
Absolutely.
yourselves.
Second beer time, but I wanted to talk to Motherpucker because we were talking about Coney Island, and it's it's a place I know that you love. It's also a place that I deeply love, and one of my favorite memories of you and us having beers together is on the boardwalk at Ruby's.
Oh, love rubies.
Yeah, it's one of those wonderfully like slightly divey places that has cleaned up, I guess, a little bit now, but not.
The city forced them to clean up. Like
Yes.
I remember they almost got shut down twice because they didn't want to conform with the new like the Zamperla folks moving in and so there were a few times I was there where I thought this is going to be the last time I get to enjoy a beverage at this place.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they cleaned up. They still, I mean,
Oh, they're still around.
The
Is that a
bathroom?
happy ending for now?
when I first came to New York 15 years ago, the bathroom was hands down the most disgusting bar bathroom I have ever seen in my life. And now it's like an actual real functioning bathroom. It doesn't have like a little plywood door with a little metal hook keeping it shut, you know.
Which bar was this?
Ruby's at Coney
Oh
Island.
yeah. You took me there once. Yeah.
I feel like the last time I went out to the Coney Island Brewery out there was I was going out there to see Cider Girl do something at the aquarium. It was one of those evening shows they were doing. It was like a Saturday night.
Mm.
As I think, have I mentioned that the Statue of Liberty thing in my, because I know we're all being vague and we're trying to be coy. But I mentioned that I worked there. Yeah, so it was after a day on Saturday, and I went to Coney Island. To the aquarium, and I had some time to kill. So, of course, I went to the Coney Island Brewery.
Naturally.
And had some wonderful beers they had there. Then I went to Nathan's for probably the last time, because then I found out that they're not to be supported.
No, unfortunately, that was a hard blow. But the good news is, the folks at Coney are a fun crew, and they got a little bit of money from our friends up at the Boston Brewing Company.
Are they affiliated with them now? Or are they taken over or controlling interest, or what's the deal?
Yeah,
they got. Go ahead, Huck.
No, they're part of the Sam Adams
Okay.
Boston Beer Company.
But one of the
portfolio.
things what's been great about them is that they've really been kind of hands, because as many of us do, we spend a lot of time at Coney Island, usually most summers, and so I've gotten to be friendly with some of the wonderful really truly awesome folks that work there. They are so much fun.
I love going there. They're so wonderful.
Yeah. But what our friends at Sam did was they sort of said, okay, you guys, on site make a lot of really creative beers, like really kind of continue to experiment and do cool stuff. And we're going to figure out what your core beers are and help you guys get distribution on those, which is why if you're looking for the Merman IPA or the Mermaid Pilsner or some of those like classic ones, there's been a bit of an explosion of them in terms of distribution in the last couple of years. And I don't believe, I don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly sure they're not making those on site.
Yeah, those are contracts brewed. Yeah.
But they still do. You can still show up, and if you're there on the appropriate night, they've got all sorts of interesting creative things. So they're continuing to have that edge. And I'll tell you, the staff has that edge. Yeah, across the board, they're wonderful humans. So support your local breweries.
Yeah, and I think
I think if you're going to be taken over by anyone, Boston, you can do worse than Boston Beer Company.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they're a big company, obviously, but they're small potatoes compared to something like InBev.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have a much bigger market share than they used to, but they're still,
And the Mermaid Pils is a great beer. That's a really nice beer. Now, I think of AB InBev. I have my Stella glass here.
Oh yeah.
But I love your glass. I don't know, something about it. It really works well.
The chalice is.
It's a similar glass to mine, and mine's got a Megadeth logo. I had no idea.
Oh, there you go.
That's beautiful.
We got a Canadian theme. We got the Canadian glass, and you had the Canadian beer one.
Exactly.
But I have a beer that I want to share because most of you know that I'm married to Cider Girl. Now, she gave me an amazing Christmas gift that I had to open up today. She gave me an entire case that she had shipped to my house from the Suarez Family Brewery. Now, I don't know, some of our listeners might know about Suarez, but it is really rare to get, really hard to get. You don't see it anywhere, but thanks to the pandemic, they're shipping to if you live within New York. But you have to get a case.
Where are they from?
It's Livingston, New York. It's just upstate, north of Kingston. And this is their alt beer, which is kind of like a Kolsch. It's an ale that drinks like a lager, and I'm just dying to get at this. So I'm going to go ahead.
Let's take a peek.
All right.
It looks. And see.
Whoa, it's darker than I thought.
Yeah. That's the classic alt beer color for sure.
It's got that amber color to it.
I can't tell if it's just like is it dark red or almost a brown.
Yeah, it does have a reddish quality. Very much along the lines of an amber lager or an amber ale, but it is a bit darker. I'm holding up to the light. You can.
I was going to say the light comes through it in a way where I can see a little bit, but it's not quite as dark as I would expect for like a deep porter or stout or even but it allows a little bit through. But it's beautiful. And how is it? How is that first sip?
It's delicious.
It's fucking great. It's really great. And these guys, they're I'm into lagers. They make what are considered the best lagers. Even your haze heads, even your snobbiest of haze boys. You say Suarez, they go, oh, okay, yeah, Suarez. That's the stuff. That's the stuff. I mean, so they live up to the hype. I mean, they're really great. This is excellent. And I got a whole case. I got a case of 6 different 4-packs. So
wow,
it's an amazing.
What other varieties do they make? What other?
They're known for their pilsners. The Palatine Pils is kind of their flagship. Then we got the Qualify Pils, and they got two pale ales, and the alt beer and a wheat beer. So it's a really nice variety. And they generally do make low ABV beers. This one is on the higher side of what they do. It's about 5. I think it's 5.5. And the funny thing actually is on their can, it says nothing. And if you go to it says 16 ounces. And you go to the Instagram, there's hardly any information. You go to their website, there's not a lot of information. I think they're nice people and they do good stuff, but they're kind of mysterious, and
they're wizards.
They're wizards. They are wizards with the lagers. Unfortunately, I'm not getting a lot of cutting head on that, but the flavor is great. Yeah.
Well, sometimes the mystique is useful, especially if you're a brewery. Can be. I mean, although we certainly want people to know about them.
The hype is real. It's got like that caramely vibe to it, like a real nice amber lager. Yeah.
I bet it's so good. It looks really good.
Well, I had a question for Motherpucker. As you know, as we're exploring the Gotham city that we all inhabit and protect from bad beer, you live in another part of this town than we do. Are there any bars, breweries, beer stores, places that you want to sort of give shout outs to that might be in your neck of the woods?
And also, let's say what that part is, if you don't mind undisclosing a little of your disclosing a little of your This is a 9%er. It's in a big bottle. So yeah, but say what you want to say.
I do say upstate Manhattan. I literally live at the tippy top of Manhattan where the East River meets the Hudson. I can throw a rock and hit the Bronx.
So what is that? Washington Heights, Inwood?
Inwood. I'm in Inwood. Okay. So there is a huge kind of wholesale store not far from me. Apparently it's cash only. I went in there once and it was so chaotic. I kind of freaked out and left. And this was like 7 years ago, where apparently they have all these different types of beers and you can go on and mix and match. And one of these days we should all maybe make a field trip out of it. I assume they're open right now, but I don't know. But in my neighborhood, and I think Hophead, I think you've been there with me before and maybe even Beer Wonder, but maybe there's a place up here, although I'm sad to say they have opted to remain closed for the duration of this whole pandemic because the owners operate 2 other restaurants in the neighborhood and they just couldn't juggle all 3. But there was this beautiful little place called Inwood Local. And
I love that place.
Yes, that place is
one of the other beer vendors used to live in that neighborhood, and she and I used to go there whenever we could.
It's wonderful because every time you go in there, there's something different. They have like 16 different taps.
I remember when they first opened. Yeah, they're great.
Such a wide variety, and they'll let you try everything until you find the beer that you like. And they're so nice, and the food was good. Like, I miss that place so much. That was a place where, for a while, one of my neighbor friends, who you all know, who lives right down the street from me, her and I would go there all the friggin' time.
Yeah.
And we were there that night in March. I think it was March 21st, which was the last night that indoor dining was
21st.
allowed before they shut it down. I think they shut everything down on the 22nd. Yep. And so we hunkered for hours and we're just like, we got to support our favorite place. We got to drink all the good beers that we can drink because once this place shuts down, it's just going to be a huge loss and we don't know when we're going to get it back. And I hope within the depths of my cold heart that they are able to reopen when we come out on the other side of this. Cause it's just, it was a really special, magical place that you all have been there. You know what I'm talking about. There's not a lot like that up here in this neighborhood. So it was truly like a diamond in the rough. And
now, is that the one you're talking about? They have other locations? They're like part of the group?
2 other restaurants in the neighborhood.
What are the other 2 that they have so we can support them if they're still open?
Oh, yes. So they have the Parkview Cafe, which is on Dyke Street. And then they have Garden Cafe, which is just 2 doors down.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I've been to the Garden Cafe. Yeah, so they're
literally down Broadway.
So they're shuttered but hoping to reopen. Well, that's what I mean. That's
fingers crossed.
Yeah,
fingers crossed. Because of the 3 places, that was the best. Just because.
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, no disrespect to the other 2 places, but Inwood Local was great.
Yeah,
is great. Will continue to be great when they're able to. Hopefully that landlord, because it sounds like it's one of those situations, because those places are like all next to each other, right?
Well, Garden Cafe and Inwood Local are like 2 doors down from each other.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The other one's a little further off.
The other one's down on Dykeman Street. So
it's what we were talking about before about small businesses need help from us, but also from Washington. And hopefully more of that'll happen soon because they won't survive without it.
I will be devastated beyond belief if they do not open back up eventually. Because that's the only place up here where you can really find great, unique beer that you have not tried before. I have a great grocery store that's down the street from me. It's a C-Town of all places.
Would you be? I don't know how much you've listened because I've listened to a few more
you like
episodes.
Seatown that you like.
Seatown. I think the deal is I don't know what it is. Why Seatown among grocery stores? I think they have some level of independence, but why people who run Seatown franchises are into beer because they have some great stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I dread going to this grocery store though, because you walk in to the grocery store and it is so friggin' cold in the grocery store. And then they have the back room with like little plastic drapes. That's like a separate beer room. It's supposed to be the beer cooler room. And you walk in there and it's actually like 2 degrees warmer in the beer room than it is in the rest of the grocery store. Like I went in there today to get my beer for this meetup.
Yeah.
And I'm in my puffy coat and I'm like freezing and I'm dreading walking into the store because I know I'm going to be cold. And then I walked into the beer cooler room and I'm like, all right, this is more on par with the temperature outside. It's very strange.
I haven't been much outside my front door I've been to a store of beer and cheese. I've been to my local grocery store and not much beyond that for a good chunk. I think I went out a little more in the beginning of November, but did not much since then. But today I went out on a bike ride, and I realized that no matter how much your torso and arms are sweating, your fingers can still freeze.
Very true. So true.
I should have been wearing gloves. I haven't been out enough, but I should have. Yeah, because I was wearing like a sweater and a leather jacket. And I was very, very warm here and here, but I felt like my fingertips were about to fall off. But I thought it was important to. I mentioned a few times how I really wanted to try the new Big Alice Bodega Breakfast Stout.
Oh yeah, did you get a hold of one?
I got a 4-pack.
Nice.
Nice.
I rode out. I rode the 3 miles out there. Got the 4-pack. Said hi to Mr. Ruthless.
Of course.
Like you do.
That's his Instagram name.
Instagram handle. Yep.
Yeah, and he likes us and he follows us, and it's very nice.
That's a good beer Avenger name.
The real reason I was going out today was because I wanted to visit Astoria Beer and Cheese Broadway.
Yes.
I hadn't been there in a while, and then I realized once I was going there, I'm like, well, it's not that much further to go to Big Alice, and so I went to Astoria Beer and Cheese Broadway after that. And I found some wonderful things there.
Ooh.
I found a Black is Beautiful that I'd never seen before from somewhere in New Jersey.
Ooh.
I don't have the can at hand.
I really love that episode with you introducing the whole Black is Beautiful project.
It's great. Yeah, I mean, and I think that's a wonderful way to as a like community thing because it's like it's both vast and local. It's wonderful. Yeah. I know I've been talking strangely a lot about Hardywood because they've just suddenly come into my life, and I was able to find their Christmas pancakes there.
Yeah, they dropped in New York for the first time this season. So
okay, I mean, I remember when I said I found it at Triborough Beverage, and that's when I got the gingerbread stout, and which I featured last week, and the Christmas pancakes, which I'm looking forward to. There was also I got a nice. Imperial Stout from Fifth Hammer, which was great. But I thought I had notes here and I don't, so I have to do this from memory. There were, I got a couple other things. Oh, you mentioned DuClaw. They have their whole patriarchy series. So I got some kind of like peppermint chocolate stout thing, candy cane stout. So I'm really looking forward to trying that one. But the one that I got more than I bargained for, but the real reason that I went there was for this.
Yeah, there it is.
Curtain Up, Save the Arts. Beautiful. Whose is this?
This is the Gun Hill, I assume.
I assume it's Gun Hill, yeah.
Oh, yes, it is Gun Hill. This is
yes.
Yes. This is the first one that's been out. They came out last week, as we talked about on last week's show. And I went to Astoria Beer and Cheese Dip Mars over the weekend, and I said, hey, by any chance you guys going to get this? Because they have it there. And, if you got it here, I'll wait for you to get it here. And then 2 days later, I'm like, I need to have this now.
I can't wait.
I just wanted. Motherpucker. This is a new beer that is benefiting the performing arts community, much like Black is Beautiful is. They are reaching out to breweries everywhere, sharing the recipe. And
I love it. I love like fundraising and beer drinking melded together. I mean, what better combination could there be?
Indeed.
In fact, I saw one the other day where the happy hour guys or Curtain Up, they're so together. I don't know. Anyway, but they posted something where they had this one, and they also got one from. God damn it! I wish I should write more things down. It's a brewery upstate. It's like just a little bit north of Saratoga, like just below Lake George, and they have it. I remember all the things I went to look up their name and where they were, and I don't remember the name of the brewery. But now there are at least 2 versions of these. There are dozens of them who have committed. And I'm very certain that there will be a time in the future that we are going to have a Curtain Up episode. Where all of us will
I hope so.
I can't wait. That will be so much fun.
Message out to the breweries out there: make that Curtain Up beer, please.
And we will buy it, and then we'll talk about it.
And talk about it. Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe we'll even get the Curtain Up people to come on and share a beer with us.
Amazing.
Pretty amazing.
Very cool. It was so great to have Motherpucker with us today.
So much for having me, guys. I enjoyed it immensely.
And it's great that it did coincide with our sour beer episode. Mm-hmm. And we could talk a little bit about that. Yeah. So this is
you've been a wonderful guest. Come back anytime.
Anytime.
Literally anytime.
And to come full circle. And to come full circle, just remember, go support your local business. Be it your bottle shop, be it your brewery, be it your bodega that always has your favorite beer. Go there. Don't think of it as spending extra money. Think of it as spending money you were already going to spend early.
And also, if you're not interested in going out and you want to get something shipped to your home, go directly to the business. Don't go through Amazon. Don't go through these bigger businesses. Help out the local business by directly. Hoping if they do ship directly, which a lot of them do. So that's something to do for all your holiday gift needs as well. Yeah,
definitely. 2/3 of our listeners are in New York State. Almost all of our local breweries are doing that.
Yeah.
Yep. So now is a great time to get yourself a nice case of something special, or maybe for your favorite beer venger in your life.
That's right.
Because they are also your small businesses that are doing their best to stay alive right now.
Yeah, and like I said, I got that case. I got to get you guys some of these Suarez. Actually,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
I got to get you guys the sponsorship package.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't been paid yet in beer.
Yes, we work for beer.
I need my beer stipend.
There are worse forms of currency out there.
Well,
it's just historic.
That's how they used to pay dock workers. That's how the term porter came out, because they were giving beers to the porters on the docks and river porters, and they were paid in beer. Mm-hmm. I heard that they paid the people that built the pyramids were paid in beer.
Yep, rations of beer per day. We also know that the Babylonians would let you pay your taxes in beer, and then if you watered down your beer, they would kill you.
The people who built the pyramids, they were slaves, so you didn't even have to pay them.
Yeah, they were lucky to get a beer. That's right.
They were lucky. Yeah, they were. I don't want to end on that note.
Wow.
That was satire. Underlined satire. We do not believe that.
Canceled.
The Beer Vengers podcast does not endorse the practice of slavery.
Yes, the Beer Vengers have now been officially canceled. All right. Well, yes. So yes, support your local business. Thank you, Motherpucker. I think that wraps it up, unless anyone else has anything that I need to add.
Beer Wonder.
I know we just said both of those things already. It's 9%. Big bottle.
I know.
You're doing great. You're doing great, Captain.
Oh, thanks,
awesome. We love you, Captain. We love you, Motherpucker. Huck, play us out, shall we?
You bet. Here we go. Well, we're the beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers.
We're the Beer Vengers.